Well, welcome to Fruitful Friday. This is our third edition already, and we're finally getting to the manifestation of the fruit of the recreated human spirit. Paul writes to the church in Galatia, and he talks about the works of selfishness or the flesh and how crazy that can be for us. He said, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace. We're going to go through all 9 of those here during this Friday vlog. But I just wanted to stop for a moment as we begin this to say, what is it? The fruit. It means the result, the end result of having a recreated human spirit. The result or the effectiveness of having the life of God in your life really does make a difference, not only to you, but to others. And this fruit of the Spirit is really the impact of your life on others because of the development of the work of God in your life. You are fruitful, not fruity. You're fruitful. And I want to encourage you in that fruitfulness. And I want to just give you some encouraging words every week in part of whatever characteristic of the fruit. It's not fruits, it's fruit. This is the fruit. This is the result. This is what comes out of your life when God is developing you and when you are being developed in the ways of Jesus. Now, in the New Testament, there's 3 significant loves that we're encouraged to embrace. The first is friendship love. That where you love somebody because they're loyal to you and you're loyal to them. There's just this great connection. There's an instantaneous feeling of belonging and connection between you. This happens many times in churches. It happens in neighborly type of pursuits. Sometimes it can happen at work. You just have friends and you love those friends. There's just something about them that endears you to them and then endears them to you. That's the fruit of love in some respect. But then there's also storge. That's a Greek word for familial love. So there's friendship love and there's family love. You choose your friends, you don't choose your family. But still, we love our family. We're born into our family and we learn to love a parent or love a sibling or love an aunt or an uncle, or according to where you're from, an aunt or an uncle, or a grandmother or a grandfather, a brother, sister. However, we love them because of some unchosen connection, but they're important to us. They're part of us. They're the fabric of our lives, and we are the fabric of their lives. But then there's this higher love that goes beyond just our friends. It goes beyond just our family, and it affects all of humanity. Now, there are a lot of people that will go by the label Christian that this kind of love is hardly ever in their repertoire of behavior or of attitude toward other people. But it can be if we allow the work of the Spirit in us. And how do you allow the work of the Spirit in you? Well, first, it's an everyday process where you say, I want your word in my life every day. And you are a reader and a studier of God's word in an effort to apply the wisdom of God to your life. You pray these things. You say, God, I'm human, but I want the divine in my life. So help me to see people as you see them. Help me to hear people as you hear them. Help me to value people as you value them. Paul came along and he talked about this particular kind of higher love, which comes from the Greek word agape. And basically it means an unrequited love. In other words, it's a one-way love. It's not a two-way love. Friendship love's two-way. Storge, mostly, family love is two-way. But agape is where you just love because you're a lover, because you care about people, because you value people. I love Eugene Peterson's translation of 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And you might have heard this chapter if you've gone to a wedding, but it has nothing to do with romantic love. It has to do with just human relationship love, which I guess marriage is a human relationship. But It's not about romance. It's not about marriage. It's just about life. And Paul says it this way. Eugene Peterson paraphrases Paul in a modern way, in a modern language. And he says this: love never gives up. That's how he starts it. Love never gives up. It suffers long, is what some translations say. It's always in there. It's always yes. That's love. It never gives up. He goes on to read it like this: love cares more for others than it does for itself. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. In other words, it doesn't covet. It doesn't get jealous over what somebody else has. Love doesn't strut. That's a hard one sometimes, especially if you're in an argument with somebody. Love doesn't have a swelled head, egotistical. Love doesn't force itself on others. You can love people without being 24/7, 365 in their face. Isn't always me first. It doesn't fly off the handle. Uh-oh, that's me. Doesn't keep score of the sins of others. Wow, that's a biggie. It doesn't revel when others grovel. It doesn't take pleasure in the flowering of truth or exaggeration. It doesn't get into that. It puts up with anything. It always trusts God, who is the model for this kind of love. It always looks for the best. It never looks back. Love keeps going to the end. It's interesting that the poetry starts with love never gives up, and it ends with love keeps going to the end. And then there is a subphrase: love never dies. This is the love of a recreated human spirit. I'm not saying it's an easy love, but I am saying it's a possible love. And maybe it's a possibility when you begin to get over your prejudices or begin to get over your feelings of separation from other people. When you begin to see people like God sees them and value them like God values them. And then it ends up with these words: we have three things to do to lead us toward consummation or the completion of godly life. And he says this: trust steadily in God, have faith, hope unswervingly, keep in there, believe the best, and then love extravagantly. And then I love this last sentence: and the best of the three is love. Thank you for joining me on this Fruitful Friday. I look forward to next week when we're going to look at joy. See you then. Bye-bye.